Greetings, math fans. All right, so today we're going to do something a little bit different, though we've covered a lot of the topics already. We're going to do something where we're actually solving rational equations. Okay, so now our final answer we're going to have like x equals something. Okay, before you just kind of canceled and you found a common denominator and try to simplify things, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, all that. Now we're actually solving rational equations. So let me start out with a really basic one. If you guys have basically, I'm going to say two rational, remember rational expressions are just fractions. So you have two rational expressions. For example, if I have 3 over x plus 4 is equal to 5 over x plus 2. Okay? Basically what you do is you just cross multiply. Okay? It's really easy. Again, this is with 2. If there's more than 2, you got to do something different. But if there's two rational expressions, you literally just cross multiply and solve. So if I cross multiply, right, you guys know it's 3 times x plus 2 and 5 times x plus 4. So let's write it out here. It'd be 3 parentheses x plus 2 is equal to 5 parentheses x plus 4. Okay? And then I just distribute. It's pretty easy. 3x plus 6 is equal to 5x plus 20. Okay? Super easy, right? And then I'm going to, subtract 5x from both sides and subtract 6 from both sides. So that cancels out and you get negative 2x. And that cancels out and negative 2x equals 20 minus 6 is 14. And divide by negative 2, so x equals negative 7. That's your answer. So those are like super easy problems to do. Okay? So again, if it's two rational expressions, cross multiply and solve. Okay? So let's talk about more than two. All right, so if I have, let's just say 3 rational. So 3 could be 4, 5. It's not going to be that much more. So maybe 3 is probably the biggest we're going to get. So 3 rational expressions. So this is what I want to do. If I said x over 7 plus 2 over 7 equals 6 over 7. Think of it this way, math fans. If I said, hey, how many sevenths plus 2 sevenths gives you 6 sevenths? Now, wouldn't you guys tell me that it's x is 4? Because isn't 4 sevenths plus 2 sevenths 6 sevenths? Okay? So here's the deal. This can be, see how I have this is a 7 here? What if I change this? So you guys told me the answer was 4, right? What if I change that instead of sevens, I said 17ths, 17ths, 17ths. And I said, hey, how many 17ths plus 2 17ths give me 6 17ths? Wouldn't you still tell me the answer is 4? Right? Isn't 4 17ths plus 2 17ths 6 17ths? So here's the deal, math fans. This number doesn't matter as long as it's the same. Okay, obviously if it was x over 15 plus 2 over 16 equals 6 over 20, you couldn't do it. So our goal is to get a common denominator. Because if I get a common denominator, then all I have to do is just cross it off. And all you have to do is deal with the top. Because truly you're doing x plus 2 equals 6. Subtract 2 from both sides, so x is 4. Which you guys already told me. X is 4. Okay? So if you got two rational expressions, you cross multiply. If it's 3, you have to get a common denominator. That means I need to find an LCD, lowest common denominator. Okay? All right, so let's do a couple examples here just to figure this out. Okay, so if I have, let's say 3/8 plus 4 over 2 equals x over 8. Okay, so my common denominator, you guys should look, you should remember it's the number that 8 and 2 both go into. Don't you guys agree my LCD in this case here is 8? Okay, so just like what we did, we got a common denominator to add stuff together. You're going to multiply this is the only one you have to multiply by 4 over 4. Because that's going to give you then in your denominator an 8, an 8, and an 8. Okay, so I'm going to get basically 3/8 plus 8, or sorry, plus 16 eighths equals x over 8. Okay, so I'm going to cross those off, and I just have the top to deal with. So 3 plus 16 equals x, so x equals 19. And that's the answer to that problem. Okay, it's actually not bad, right? It's actually pretty easy. Okay, so let's do a couple more. Here, let's kind of move, just do it over here so I don't have to clear the screen. If I said 3/8 plus x over 5 equals, we'll just say equals x. So that looks kind of complicated, doesn't it? It really kind of does. If I would look at it for the first time, I'd be like, oh, I don't know what to do. But you have to get a lowest common denominator. Okay, so now this x gets a little tricky, so I'm just going to put it over 1. Okay, so I need this to be what? Well, what's my lowest common denominator? Do you guys agree I have an 8 and I have 5 and I have a 1? So what number does 8 go into, 5 go into, and 1 go into? Okay, well, the biggest number is 40. So my LCD is 40. So I multiply this one by 5 over 5. That gives me a 40 in the denominator. This by 8 over 8. That gives me a 40 in the denominator. And, well, this one's actually by 40 over 40 to give me a 40 in the denominator. Okay? So once I have that, boop, gone. 40s are out of there. And I get 3 times 5 is 15 plus 8x is equal to 40x. This is kind of nasty. Not really. Just solve for x now. I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides. So I get 32x equals 15 and divide by 32. Okay? And I don't believe anything goes into 32 and 15, so that's your answer. 15 over 32. And if you guys gave me a decimal, I'd be okay with that. Put in your calculator and give me a decimal. Who cares? I like a fraction, because that's kind of an exact answer, but that's not bad. Okay? All right, let's keep going here. Let's try a couple more. How about x minus 5 over 6 minus x plus 3 over 9 is equal to, let's just say 3. I'm making up a random number because it's kind of fun to make up random things, especially as, you know how to solve them. Okay, so what is your LCD? Well, you have a 6 and a 9. Now, again, worst case scenario, well, this is over 1, right? Worst case scenario, you can multiply 6 times 9 and say, oh, LCD is 54. But that's kind of worst case scenario. Think logically, guys. Come on. What does 6 go into and what does 9 go into evenly? Okay, and don't tell me 3, because 3 goes into 6 and 9, but I want to know a number that 6 and 9 go into. Okay, well, if I multiply 6 times 2 is 12, so 9 doesn't go into 12. How about 6 times 3? 6 times 3 is 18. Hey, 9 goes into 18. Okay, so my LCD is 18. So I need this one to multiply by 3 over 3, this one by 2 over 2, and this by 18 over 18. This one's always tricky, but it's that 18 is your denominator. So don't say, well, I need to multiply that 3 by 6. I need an 18 in my denominator. So here you go. Here's 18 in the denominator. Here's 18 in the denominator. And here is 18 in the denominator. Okay? So cross a Rooney. Cross it off. Okay, so you wound up with, I'm going to write it out, 3 times x minus 5 minus 2 times x plus 3. That's where it's tricky. Okay, it's 2 here. That 2 really is better to go in the front. So negative 2 parentheses x plus 3, and that's equal to 3 times 18, which is 54. Okay, distribute. So 3x minus 15 minus 2x minus 6 equals 54. So combined, so we get 3x minus 2x is x minus 21 equals 54. Add 21 to both sides. So x is equal to 75. There we go. That's your answer. What? Okay, it's not bad, right? It's pretty easy. Okay, let's try another one. Let's go with x plus 7 over x minus 3 is equal to 2/3. Okay, what do you do? What's my common denominator? Wait a second. This is not a common denominator problem. You could do it that way if you wanted. You could say the common denominator was 3 parentheses x minus 3. Guys, cross multiplying. It's 2 terms. Kind of threw a tricky one at you here. So it's 2 times x minus 3 equals 3 times x plus 7. Distribute, so 2x minus 6 equals 3x plus 21. Subtract 3x and add 6. I get negative x is equal to 28, or 27, sorry, 27, and divide by negative 1. So x equals negative 27. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, so let's try another one here. This is a pretty good problem. How about this one? X minus 5 over x equals 4. So this might look a little complicated, but really the LCD here, guys, these are all over 1. So the LCD is just x. Okay, so you're always looking at the denominator. Don't look at the other numbers, always look at the denominator. So how do I get this one to have an x in the bottom? Well, I'll multiply it by x over x. What about the one middle one's good, it's got an x in the bottom. How about this one? Well, again, x over x. You okay with that? So I have an x here, I have an x here, and I have an x here. So I can cross them off. And I get x times x is x squared minus 5 equals 4x. Okay, so that's what I get. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides because you get everything to one side. So you get x squared minus 4x minus 5 equals 0. Okay, you got to factor that, baby. So x, and this is going to be minus 5 and plus 1. Okay, so x minus 5 equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0. So if I add 5 to both sides, you get x equals 5. And if I subtract 1 from both sides, you get x equals negative 1. There we go. 2 answers for that problem. Okay, that was a little tricky, but not too bad. Okay, let's try, let's kind of try just one more here. 2 more. I'm going to do 2 more. Okay, so if I said 3 over x plus 4 minus 2 over x is equal to, let's say 7 over x plus 4. Okay, so what's your LCD? You guys really have good practice with this, right? It's just x times x plus 4. Right, it's kind of, you look at which one's covered. So I need an x and I need an x plus 4. That one already has an x plus 4, so you don't write it twice. So my LCD is x times x plus 4. So what do you multiply this one by? This one by x over x. What do you multiply this one by? X plus 4 over x plus 4. What do you multiply that one by? X over x. Okay, so these are out of here. So you get x times 3 is 3x. Distribute the negative 2, right? It's negative 2 times x, so negative 2x. And negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And that equals 7 times x, which is 7x. Okay, And let's solve. So 3x minus 2x is x, so x minus 8 equals 7x. I'm going to subtract x. So I get negative 8 equals 6x divided by 6. So x is, if I reduce that, it's negative 4/3. That's the answer to that problem. Okay? Really not bad. Just got to look for those LCDs, and then you're kind of good to go. All right, and last one. So I think I said that already, but it's okay. So last one, it's going to be x over x minus 2 plus x over x squared minus 4 is equal to x minus 4 over x plus 2. That one looks a little scary. Okay, but again, what you should see down here, guys, you see x squared minus 4. You should go, I got to factor that. Okay, because if you look at these greatest common factors and you go, oh, well, my greatest common factor is x minus 2, x squared minus 4, and x plus 2, I will never give you anything that brutal. Okay, so don't even look for that. If you have like more than 2 terms, you got to just you got to factor something. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with it, is that x squared minus 4 is x plus 2, x minus 2. Okay, now my LCD is x plus 2, x minus 2. So this one I multiply by x plus 2. This one I don't have to multiply by anything because it's good. That one, right, it's got x plus 2, x minus 2. And this one I have to multiply by x minus 2 over x minus 2. Okay? So this one's got a little bit more work. Again, I'm going to cross off the denominators because they're the same. And I just worry about the top. So this is what I get, guys. I get x times x plus 2 plus x is equal to x minus 4, x minus 2. Okay, and then this one you got to distribute, so you get x squared plus 2x plus x. This one you got to FOIL. X times x is x squared, outer minus 2x, inner minus 4x, and last plus 8. Well, what happens when you have with the x squareds? You subtract x squared from both sides. They both cancel. That's actually pretty sweet. So really I just get 3x. Let me actually move down a little bit here. 2x plus x is 3x is equal to negative 2x minus 4x is negative 6x plus 8. Okay, so I'm going to add 6x to both sides. So 9x equals 8 and divide by 9. So x equals 8/9. Okay? So LCD, baby. That's what you got to look for each time. And, and then once you get that common denominator, you can cross them off, and then you just solve the tops, and you're good to go. All right? So hopefully you guys are good to go with this solving equation. We're going to spend actually another day on it. Just going over notes and homework and everything, so hopefully you guys are good to go, but it takes a lot of practice. And please recognize this means solve, which means I want an x equals as an answer. Okay? That's it, Math fans. You have an outstanding day. Adios. Goodbye.